I studied drawing anatomy with zero experience for 5 days. I'll share with you my 5-day overall process and sketches, and my thoughts on the most efficient way to practice drawing anatomy. I'll also share some tips on drawing anatomy for starters like me. Day 1. I searched on YouTube for tutorials on drawing anatomy. There was so much to learn, and all this new information was intimidating me. Trying to find that perfect video for starters, I found out about George Bridgman, who had a cool and unique technique. I copied his drawings, and it took a long time to draw, and the drawing wasn't that good either. I didn't know what I was drawing, and why. YouTuber Proco said, to know why you're copying. And to do that, I had to have a basic understanding in anatomy first. I realized copying without any basic knowledge wasn't going to make me better at drawing anatomy. So I decided to learn anatomy from the very basics, which is proportion. First tip I learned on my first day is to draw in pencil. I love drawing in pen, but only draw in pen if you are on a high level where you barely make any mistakes. If you make mistakes and you can't erase them, your drawings might look like this. Yeah, that's a drawing on my thumbnail of my previous video. I can't believe I thought that was good. Day 2, I learned proportion. As much as I hate learning and memorizing, I had to memorize the form and ratio of a human being. I couldn't skip this part. Luckily, there isn't a lot to learn on proportion, and I learned the basics really quick with simple shapes. I learned on a YouTube tutorial video titled How to Draw Simple Anatomy by YouTuber Mark Brunette. Basically, an egg for the head and ribcage, a cuboid for the pelvis, spheres for the joints, and cylinders for the neck, arms, and legs. You can draw the hands and feet in cuboids or circles, but I just drew them from imagination. Draw your head, and your figure should be 7.5 to 8 heads tall. The bottom of your pelvis should be located on the middle of your figure. The neck is half a head long, and the rib cage is about 1.5 heads long. Draw the shoulders next to your rib cage, and the upper arms should end a little over the rib cage. The forearms end at the pelvis, and the hands are about 2/3 the length of the head. Connect the rib cage and pelvis to create the belly. The thighs and calves have similar length with the rib cage, and the feet are about the same length of the head. The main difference between male and female is that the male has wider shoulders and the female has a wider and slightly tilted forward pelvis. I kept drawing male and female figures to be able to draw the basic shapes of anatomy through memory. I just kept drawing, and I could see improvements quickly. Drawing simple anatomy repeatedly wasn't that boring because it didn't take long to draw one body, and my progression was noticeable. Day 3. Now that I had the basic proportions in my head, I wanted to draw moving figures. I studied gesture drawing, a drawing technique used to see figures in terms of its rhythms and movement. Gesture drawings looked easy to draw, but like Bridgman's drawings, gesture drawing wasn't as easy as it looked, and after trying it out, I knew I wasn't ready for it yet. So, instead of gesture drawing, I started drawing simple poses with simple perspective. It took some time to match scales with my figure in different positions, but since I knew my proportions, I was able to quickly fix my drawings after. Knowing what part of the body was awkward and correcting it really helped me on getting the right perspective of my figure. Tip number 2, no human being is the same, so don't stress out on perfection. Day 4. Now comfortable drawing my figure with shapes, I wanted to get into more detail. I wanted to draw muscles. Once again, I was astonished by the overwhelming number of tutorials and body parts I had to put in my head. Watching tutorials about a body part gave me advice. It was good information, but it felt like taking classes in school. All the tutorial videos on YouTube were good, but mostly it was my mindset filled with fear and pressure on coming across so much new information. When it comes to learning something new, the balance between learning and practicing is important. With too much learning, you'll get bored and your hand won't follow at the pace. Practice is key, but then again, without the right amount of knowledge through learning, your practice wouldn't be able to benefit you at the most. The fastest way to get better was by learning at my own pace, not wearing myself out with the stress of learning something new, while consistently practicing and reviewing what you learned. Following this rule, I drew from reference. I drew shirtless, pantless, muscular men, first drawing the basic figure with the basic shapes, and then, using an eraser and pencil, adding the muscle like adding clay. Adding muscle from the basic form helped me understand the location of the muscle and the correlation of the surrounding muscles. Compared to watching tutorials, this was much more fun to do because I already had a basic structure and I was getting right into adding muscles. I was learning and practicing at the same time. Day 5. Just like yesterday, I kept drawing from reference, trying to understand the location and form of every muscle. I now plan on watching tutorials on particular body parts. Having the basic knowledge of the shapes and sizes of muscles, I now find videos on anatomy very interesting. After drawing anatomy for 5 days, I now study anatomy on my own with ease, or at least with some clue. For any of you who had trouble on beginning anatomy due to its high barrier of infinite information, I hope this video helped. I plan on continuing my adventurous journey on learning anatomy. Let's get better together. I'll see you soon. Take it easy.